announced it opened an investigation into allegations that Swalwell may have engaged in sexual misconduct, including towards an employee working under his supervision. Joining me now live to talk about today's big announcement is political analyst Brian Sobel. Brian, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Why do you think that Swalwell decided now to quit?
Heather, it was inevitable. I think at the point that these women interviews, obtaining legal representation, and the word was spreading as it did, I think that derailed his gubernatorial campaign first and foremost. And then as he saw his endorsements and people peel off as quickly as I've seen in many, many years, he knew his congressional seat was also going to have to be vacated, and that's the decision he took.
Yeah, so essentially the writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
This is quite, though, the fall for someone who was seen as a front runner in the race for California governor.
No question about it. This is a 45-year-old guy with what appeared to be a long runway. Made national news during the impeachment, one of the impeachment attempts on Donald Trump, very vociferous in his opposition to Donald Trump and his policies, was hitting the talk show circuit quite often and the cable news network circuit, and so becoming a household name. And even, I think, contemplating once again, as he did before, a run for president. Mm-hmm. This, of course, takes care of all of those hopes and dreams and sets him in a new course in life.
Yeah. Brian, what type of effect, though, does Swalwell's resignation have on Congress?
Well, if it weren't for the fact that Tony Gonzalez in Texas has tendered his quote-unquote resignation, which is essentially the same thing as just calling it quits, you'd have maybe a seat go on the side of the Republicans, one of the Democrat seats. But with Tony Gonzalez, a Republican, 3 terms out of Texas, resigning as well, it's a wash at this point with those 2 individuals.
Do you think that Gonzalez's announcement, no coincidence here, or is it coincidence?
These things aren't coincidences in Washington, D.C. Even the timing isn't a coincidence.
Yeah.
These things come along and they take their course, but it's pretty well directed by other people oftentimes. In the case of Gonzalez, as people may or may not be aware in California, his relationship with a former chief of staff in his office ended up with her committing suicide, and a really horrific thing. And of course, in the case of Swalwell, you have numerous women who believe or are making the accusation that they both were drugged and raped. And I always caution everybody to remember, in this country, you're innocent until proven guilty. But sometimes the circumstances are so much that you can't survive something like staying in office.
Yeah, final question for you, Brian. We talked about the impact on Congress. What about the gubernatorial race? Who benefits the most from Swalwell's exit?
Great question. I think what it does is it reshuffles the deck. Swalwell leaves. Steyer, who has spent $100 million, has great name recognition in California. So I think he'll get a little bit of a bump. But Heather, I think there's an opportunity for these other Dem candidates to get some more visibility, to get their platforms out there a little bit more. And we know that people in California who are Democrats haven't been excited by this race. So maybe a Katie Porter, who's had sort of a checkered past, can make a little bit of a run here. Matt Mahan and all these other people, Yee and Thurmond and so many more that are in the race. Maybe they get a chance to reintroduce themselves to the race.
All right. Brian Sobel, always appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Take care.
You too. All right. For more reaction now from